Hello everyone, we'll be getting started in just a moment. We're going to go ahead and obliterate those ad breaks in a bit. Just going to wait for some people to funnel in, so it shouldn't be more than maybe 2 to 5 minutes and we'll be there. Today we got FluX and ALovelyTsundere, so be excited, be hyped. It's going to be interesting to see how this goes down. I've been having a great day, a bit tired, but when's that ever different for me? So talk soon. Thank you, ALovelyTsundere, for the follow. Much appreciated. Go ahead and clump that music down to extra low. Let's get to it. All right, hello everyone. My name is the Cruise Control, also known as Cruise Control. I'm a bit tired, but I'm gonna try to give this my maximum energy. No, I'm not. Can't handle that for that long. But I will give this some energy. All right. So, hey, that's not very fair. How dare you, FluX? I seen that. Welcome to the stream. We are going to be doing today, as we have been so many times already, a team survival tournament match during the second week. This time we will be watching the sad Swats play on Manor versus the Matriarch. With me, I will have FluX and ALovelyTsundere, who I'll be asking to introduce themselves in a short moment. Sure. Okay, I gotta make sure I'm tabbed in. Something's about to happen. I do not want it to crash. Where was it? I will have them with me shortly. For now, I am currently muted. so they can't hear whatever I'm saying, except if they're watching the stream, in which case, why are you stalking me? Let's see here. My mind has been distracted by the change in the game. What was I trying to say? Yes, we're doing Team Survival. What is Team Survival, you may be asking yourself? Well, basically, it is a Killing Floor 2 tournament, run in part by FluX, run in full by FluX, led by FluX, yada yada. FluX is the lead here, essentially. Thanks to FluX, we have brought this concept back up from the original form in Killing Floor 1. As I mentioned before, although FluX may be the one who has really breathed some life into this fire, it could not exist without the assistance of viewers like you, and especially the players. Without a team to actually be playing, this wouldn't be possible. So thank you to everyone who's actually participating, either actively or passively. It's very much appreciated. Anyway, so how does this work? You might be wondering. Well, basically, the teams are having to play through a 7-wave Hell on Earth match on a map and a boss that is assigned, and whichever team within a bracket that gets the fastest time will win that round. If the times are a bit off in terms of sorry, I'm reading so many chats right now, my bad. If the times are off because of something where unexpected, for example, like if one team loses on wave 6 and another team gets to wave 7 would win. If you die, you get a 30-second penalty. If the whole team wipes, you get an additional 1-minute penalty. If for whatever reason there was like a perfect tie, I believe it will then go down to how many deaths, so on and so forth. Apparently FluX is letting us know that the team needs to beat 26 minutes 43 seconds to win, so we have a par that they need to reach, so this will be interesting. So that's basically the long and short of the beginning. We'll get more into the details as the stream itself goes and as the match exists. So I think that's about all I have to say in that manner. There will be a bunch of information on the screen, and we'll go ahead and talk about that soon. So let's go ahead and introduce our fellow co-commentators. So I would like to now invite them to say hello to FluX, and say hello to ALovelyTsundere.
Hello, how are you guys doing?
If at any point the audio needs adjusting, please do let me know so we can go ahead and take care of that. I don't know if I mentioned it already because I'm a little bit distracted here, but ALovelyTsundere, thank you for the follow. Much appreciated. Shout out to you. Let's see here. It looks like I also got a sub point from someone, but I don't know if they remembered to announce it, so I don't actually know who done that. But thank you to whoever did that. And I think that about covers it there. So we're going to go ahead and bring it into the match. Make sure that everything's good and orderly. So once we do get to the match, we'll get started. So is everyone ready? FluX, I think they are, right?
Yeah, everyone's ready.
Okay, cool. So then on your marks, stream is ready.
It's looking like it's going to be a good match, guys. I'm very excited. This team has been on point and leading the meta of this tournament.
All right. So, before we go any further, FluX, what the heck was that about ad revenue? How dare you? I saw that. I saw that.
You saw nothing.
I saw everything. I have. What is it the young ones say these days? I have the receipts. Check the receipts right there. No, that's not it. Where is it? Where is it? How far back was it? I'm scrolling. Where's my receipt? It's in there somewhere, maybe. I don't have time to be fiddling with that. Let's go ahead and get into it. Some final pieces of statements for my part before I open it up to my fellow commentators. Let's just get over things real quick. I will be using a controller so that I hopefully reduce the potential for motion sickness for you, the viewer. On the screen, you see a timer that above that is counting the time. It is not matching the normal timer because that timer counts lobby and does not count well during Z time. Our timer will not penalize the players for making extensive use of Z time, and the rest of it will go over as time goes on. So, what is up, guys? It's been a bit. I've been doing some of these solos, so you're gonna have to just shut me up if I'm talking too much. What's doing?
No, it's fine. So I noticed that they are actually using the same perk layout they have done for every single match.
Same players as well, I think, if I'm looking at this right.
I believe it's same players, same perks. Exactly the same.
I think they just really confident in their team build, and I know they're really proud of their sharpshooter, so they're trying to fit him into every game they can.
I'll be honest, I never expected this room to be used.
This What would you expect instead of this room? I guess before I even say anything.
So there is a lot of areas where it actually has extremely quick spawn rates. This one's actually one of the higher ones, but nowhere near the best. The downstairs hallways that we saw earlier, that's actually one of the best ones. Even though it looks a bit slower, it definitely is up there just because of the vision. Like with this one, they're actually blocking out some of the spawns just because they can see through the hallway. The biggest one you can see, if you look through the right hallway, they're actually coming from the downstairs, which is very far apart.
52 seconds, trader skip save.
Ooh.
Is that the fastest that's possible? I think that's the fastest I've seen. Is that just how it is?
No. 54 or 55 is the fastest. So
right,
far.
because it gives you like 5 seconds minimum on the countdown.
Yeah.
I saw some weapon swapping happen there.
I'm just very interested how like they spawned here, they didn't move, and like they already were in the spot they wanted to be, which is a really good right off the bat.
So what you're actually going to find, if you look at their player positioning, they're actually doing it so they're actually not blocking certain areas. So like the medic's in the middle, which is expected, but if you look at the two people on the right, depending on your perspective, so the right doorway, you can see they're actually curved around the vision from the door.
Yes, definitely. It's avoiding damaging the spawns within the corridor as much as possible, essentially.
Yeah.
Well, with that said, I'll go ahead and just give a little detail on what the viewers may be witnessing right now. Well, right after this scrake gets taken care of, though. Oh, actually, it's getting the hit.
He did get a swing.
Voodoo Doll and Van, Sharpshooter and Support got a little tickled there.
That was a 4-man damage swing.
Potentially more
this
than...
area is very tight.
Oh, and here comes some quarter pounders. I guess we'll have to wait. The medic is taking the front line there. That's an unexpected choice there.
Very low health.
Sure,
the whole team is hurting.
They're not skipping next wave. They're definitely not. They need an weapon upgrade for the medic to pull this off.
Absolutely.
At least, yes, especially for this spot where the spawns are coming in so quick and around the corner, they really don't have too much time to really put the damage down with the tier 1 weapons.
Even the commando doesn't really have an opportunity to expand on the Z times because they can't really see much more than what's inside of that corridor's doorway, essentially.
And with the control they're doing, they're actually now improving the right side, so they can actually spawn even faster.
More weapon swaps. I don't think they're leaving.
Oh,
Nope.
they did it.
53 seconds.
53.
Kind of expected. This team has been doing this for quite a while, and they're kind of leading the meta on the support swap strategy, and they're really very good at conserving ammo and holding down a single SWAT.
Oh, for sure.
They looked at their health bars. They had half of it. They said, that's 49 more points than I need.
I just want to state, the Firebug has a chef's hat. He is the cook of the team.
That's the best. The chef hat, Firebug. That's, like I said, that's my heart right there. Who doesn't enjoy a good chef hat, Firebug?
You know, I'm glad you bring this up. I haven't really had a chance to really talk about Fashion Souls, but this is important. Let's go ahead and look at here. The Sharpshooter, barely visible, only the eyes. That's all they really need on their face. That makes total sense. What do we got here? Medic, wearing a face mask, very important in these times. Stay healthy. Firebug, obviously, like you mentioned. Good old chef's hat. Mr. Phyology, I'm not really getting the combination here in comparison to the commando, but I mean, it looks spiffy. It's very high visibility. Maybe the high visibility is saying, don't shoot in my way. I want to get my Z time extensions. Let's see what I don't even know what to say about the currently burning, fallen bauble of Christmas. I have nothing on that. I'm at a loss there.
I'm really enjoying the Sharpshooter's outfit. The classic cowboy of the West with the little mask and the hat is definitely straight up fashion.
Mm-hmm.
I actually do think he's better on the Gunslinger. I don't know. It just fixed the old classic cowboy.
It just doesn't look. It the coat, you know, that little bit of a side coat.
Yeah.
That tells me I'm at a distance. I don't need to worry about moving my arms or someone grabbing my cape because, you know, no capes. But if you're sniping, your cape doesn't matter. No one's gonna touch your cape. Be cool. All right, let's see here.
Someone be behind you grabbing your cape. What have you been up to?
I'm not legally required to answer that question. Van, in other news, is let's see here. They got a backpack. Support should have a backpack. That makes sense. That's where they keep all their spare bullets. And a helmet. I've never seen a helmet, I don't think. Besides, obviously, when watching these players, so I don't know what to say about it. Oh, are we actually seeing a movement to the trader? It's a bit of a distance, so...
Are we?
It's interesting that they decided to go for this one. It's kind of far away, all things considered.
Yes, it
and
is
their
quite
medic is
far
at
away.
the very back.
I'm
but
actually expecting a new location for this one.
I am expecting that exact same thing I was about to say. They're going to just stick here, potentially.
Well, no, this one is going to be tough. So this is one of the faster ones that I mentioned. Because of... Okay, so the left room is very spicy. Oh, they are actually moving.
They're not having
Yeah,
it.
that would have killed them, to be honest.
25-second skip.
This is
bit
definitely
slower
a
than others.
location I don't like getting stuck in when kiting around, so I can see the decision. It was a slower time than normal for them, but still on
But
par.
they've made up for it.
Yeah. All right, well, I still haven't had a chance to do this. Let's go ahead and explain some more of what you're looking at the screen here for any viewers who may be new. On the right-hand side, we have the Discord overlay, which is helping you understand who is saying what. On the bottom, we have a customized spectator scoreboard, / overlay. So at the bottom, you can see each individual player and their perks. The top bar, which is blue, is the armor. The second bar is their health, and the third bar is their ammo, which is yellow and white. The yellow bar is their primaries, and the white one is their secondaries, potentially only their 9mm. Would you happen to know, FluX? Because I keep saying this, but I've never actually bothered
that's
asking.
it.
Exclusively 9mm. Okay, so there you go. There's also the kills, assists, and their current dosh there. We can also bring up the main screen in case you want to see any other information in a little more detailed in a different kind of way. And honestly, that about covers it with that sense. So that's pretty much what you're seeing here. If there were to be a death, it would show in the time section above. But so far, we haven't seen that, and hopefully, for Sad Swat's sake, we won't be seeing that. And I just heard a large spawn, so...
Basically, for the actual penalties, for all the penalties that show up, ooh, on the left side.
Gone.
Never mind. Apparently, that's not even.
They're not,
Not even
they're
here.
not there. See, this is...
Any penalty does happen, which will be a 30-second for every death. It will pop up as a separate message on the top, so that actually does the calculation with your times here. But then it will say, okay, it's been adjusted to this.
Yeah. And would you happen to know if the team wipes, does every single death add 30 seconds and then an additional minute on top of that? Is that how that works?
Yes.
Okay. I felt like that'd be a bit too brutal, but I was like, oh, it's probably right. So there you have it. Team wipes are not suggested.
So basically, the actual
yeah.
general concept was a 1 death every wave versus
There's a
one
hot
death
swap,
in
but the gun
general.
was missed, and now it's been picked up. Okay, all's good. Sorry. You're saying, FluX?
I just said in general, it was the idea or the concept was the one team that just wipes once, like just no deaths apart from the wipe, versus a team that dies every wave.
Just to make it fair for everybody. So like, the team that progresses farther still wins.
The team that's second might know exactly how long they have to win for as well, so like 26-43. If the other team didn't defeat the boss, it might be advantageous for them to die, but they'd have to be very careful about that because there'd be a huge amount of time added on if they didn't match the waves. So.
It's still done by progression, but I don't want anyone to, or any teams to be like the dig type and say, look, we've already got past your progress, let's just suicide.
Yeah.
Nah, because that's, you got to remember the street credit afterwards, so to speak.
Exactly.
You're going to look like the bad guys, and you don't want to do that, especially in a small community as it is.
Timers de-incentivize things of this nature quite a bit. 52 seconds saved, 9 minutes, 9 seconds, moving into wave 5 of 7. They're already going very fast here. I'm thinking I need to go ahead and jump into their chat, but I didn't ask them. Usually they're okay with it.
They'll be okay.
I'll go ahead and do that now. Go ahead and let's see. Let's lock ourselves onto the sharp, and we'll be back in soon. Very, very quiet.
Right side is clear.
Rage, deraging.
Stumble.
I have extensions. I have a break here left with me. He's
Alright,
right
transition
in front of me.
left as soon as you cover it.
Monkey, give me
Say what?
Stun.
Give me Vlad.
Okay, I didn't hear you. Where'd you drop the other one?
I picked it up.
Okay. My molly?
It's on me if you want it.
Drop it to me when you get a chance. Sweet, thank you.
All right, well, that was a great time to jump in. Raged, Flesh Pound, and Scrake immediately. We heard exactly how those callouts go. It was very interesting. How was that for you guys watching that?
That was very interesting. Definitely on point with the communication, but expect anything less. That Flesh Pound coming in would right on time makes for some very interesting slice of commentary from them and see what they're doing.
Yeah, definitely. I was on Voodoo Doll, at Voodoo Doll's perspective, so where they were looking, I was looking at that time, and it turned out perfectly. As soon as the Flesh Pound was just about to come in, heard calls, clarified it was Rage, they got the ice stun on it. There was several calls for the Scrake. As soon as he turned around, perfect stun, headshot, kept it in place, was smoothly taken care of. And here comes another Flesh Pound to see if they can continue this up. It's already been aggroed. Oh, it has no chance. It's not even done pounding the ground before it's dead. Oof.
They're just so on point with their timing. Honestly,
Absolutely.
like when that Flesh Pound went on when you went into their comms, you didn't get a chance to move. The medic went in front, took the swing, jumped backwards with the swing, and then froze and obliterated it.
I think the terrifying thing about this team, if you were a Zed, is that if you know the tiny ones, they shoot them, whatever. But you come in, I'm like, I'm a big bad Flesh Pound, I'm gonna mess you. Instantly, the whole team turns around and their guns trace your head perfectly, and it's gone in like seconds. Like that's I think what really showcases that they have to be calling out very well. And while I was in there, it was very clear that they were calling things out to each other, because to turn 6 players around that fast and to be so confident that you can eliminate it in seconds, to allow for you to turn around and completely ignore the room that you were currently guarding, shows just how good they are. Because if you were to do that and you were mess up, you've just now let like the right corridor just be completely exposed, and now you're getting pushed in. So.
The thing is, there's now 2 situations they now need to focus on. And that depends on location. If they keep this location up, what's going to happen with a triple Flesh Pound, or 4 quarters, 2 Scrakes and a 2 Flesh Pound, or, you know, something similar to that? I know it's going to be wave 7, but that's the most important one. If they can't handle their situation, they don't need to worry about the boss, because they're not going to get that far. And then the other option is, what's going to happen with the boss? There's so many things that they can be punished for. I think it's the best word.
26 seconds saved. They're still in the basement. It's working out all right for them, though. It will be interesting to see how that works out. Yeah, definitely. That room is difficult to get out of, but if you can manage to push out of it, you have a lot of space in the corridor to get out. Or the stairwell on the other side. But you have to get out of the door in the first place. If you're body blocked, and that's the end of it.
A nice little taunt from Hazard's Monkey there, showing his confidence. And yes, I'm very interested to see how the later waves are going to go. The 6 and 7 are going to be real brutal in this tight of a space.
Definitely.
So we are seeing the 401 on the medic. So definitely more directional or specific target healing.
Yep.
You can hear him spamming that heal. 4 those, 3, 4?
So many. Just
One behind.
Just a gaggle. And on the other side, too. They really committed.
2
Oh,
Scrakes
2 Scrakes. They took out a freeze. That's going to be done, no problem. Yep.
Cord Pound sneaking
Cord Pound
in.
is rolling around in the background, though. Couple of hits. Not a problem. Astrology slightly injured. The medic is farting in the room. Everyone's breathing it in. Delicious. Instant heals.
But their armors. They still have so much armor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they really nailed the support swap technique. It's working out for them great. The Firebug is still on tier 1, doing the work. Doesn't have any bother to switch up.
Hey, look at their ammunition. It's high. No problem. They keep skipping traders, and it's causing no problem for them whatsoever. So it looks like the medic is using just the medic pistol, 9mm, and the 401 like you mentioned. Let's see. Hazardous with a Scrake. Using a cock and burn.
Oh, another one. And a
top.
flash from behind.
Well, this could be
Wait.
interesting.
Yep, caught her. Dead. Scraking left. Scrake says, never mind, I'll take this one out.
I'm feeling Hazard is acting as a carrier of a spare Vlad, something else of that nature. Can't really tell what else he might be holding. Looks like Mr. Phaeology is using... I can never tell which one that is. Is that the AK? Not sure. That was the M16 right now he just switched into. I'm not sure what the other rifle is. That one.
It's nice to see
Is it
someone...
AK?
Yeah, it's the AK-12.
Okay.
It's
AK-12.
really nice to see people actually use the M16. It's such an underrated gun.
It's really useful. I mean, they don't have a demo, but with that, they get that extra little bit of splash damage, especially considering that they tend to be making use of tight quarters like this. You know, in the doorway, you don't have to aim. Just pop it off, or it can be used to decap a Scrake very easily. Hit the flesh pounds. It's very versatile, as long as you use it with someone who can follow up with you. And this team is definitely all about follow-ups.
Not only does it have a great grenade launcher, but it's actually a good gun to use in general with a kind of the higher, with a nice light recoil. It's a good assault rifle.
Yeah, definitely. I can't really
It's cool
tell
as-
what Kubro's making use of. I'm not so detailed knowledge with pistols, especially when they're giant LED versions. I can't read them.
So I could definitely hear a dual deagle.
Mhm. Maybe some 1911s. The weapons are swapping like crazy.
Oh, he may have lost his guns.
Oh.
He dropped them and he can't find them.
I think they might be in the wall there. And there's a flesh pound situation. A lot of quarter pounders, full size flesh
Good.
pound Scrakes.
Oh, gets more.
One's still going. Missed its swings. Take care. Did you notice if the guns were located or?
I know he picked up a weapon afterwards, but I don't know if he got all of them. So he definitely has dual deagles.
Yeah.
This commando has really put in the work with the Z time extensions. It's helping out the team a ton.
Definitely.
Single M19.
See on that team. That might be where the situation is. Probably lost one of those. Yep. Let's
I
see
think
here.
so.
Van's got
Oh, no,
the
he's got another one.
Vlads. Another one. What am I missing? So much happening.
Yeah, the.
I was trying to cover
guns
yeah.
their arsenal here, really. Van's got the Vlad nail gun, seems to be the dominant. Voodoo Doll, the Sharp was using an 1858, I think, right there, which is interesting. They're really making an extensive use of whatever guns they spawned with, even now. The Wave 7, so that's something right there. Pretty much just seeing a Winchester, right? That's not,
let me see.
that's the 1811, a single 1811, or 1858, sorry. And I think a Winchester.
So I think he's just upgraded them. Some of these other weapons, making them even stronger, which is actually a really good, cheap alternative.
That's a good point. Yep.
To be honest, tier 1 weapon for sharpshooter already is pretty good, and just with the one upgrade, it basically almost doubles in damage. So it's a pretty darn good weapon.
For
I
sure.
think it's about 60%.
It's great coming in. Getting pushed back. They're having a little bit of trouble. The fire is. Ooh,
They
it's
can't
getting
hit
a lot of
his head.
hits. They're not doing too good. The fire panic was making that difficult that time. It looked like a couple quarter pounders
They'll be
coming in from the
ahead.
left. There's several husks coming in from the right. Look at that. There's that consistency again. They reset instantly. Every single head turns to the Scrake. They take care of it, and then right back to taking care of holding the lines.
This is where they're making real good use of these Molotovs on the Firebug. He just throws it down and then just looks to the left. He knows what's going to happen.
Absolutely. Every single piece of useless trash will die, and by the time he turns back around, it'll just be a couple extra taps, and they'll be done. Moving in on 17 minutes. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I kind of agree with what you said earlier. Like, I would feel bad if you be a big Zed around these parts. You just you think the small Zeds have it tough. Just wait until you walk into this team and you just get focused so hard. It's basically just a life-changing experience.
It is. It's a life-ending experience, if anything. It's brutal. It's absolutely brutal. Anyway, 18 minutes and 5 seconds, moving into the boss wave very fast. We here thought that this might not be the fastest location, but they more than made up for it by just skipping trader after trader. It didn't matter for them. It might have been a little bit safer than other locations, but it's working out. That quarter power was having a little bit of an issue there, though.
He had 27 health.
Ooh, that could have been very interesting, but it's going to get even more interesting as we roll into the boss round. Matriarch is coming up, and as we know, Matriarch can pull all kinds of tricks with her array of weaponry.
I just want to make one comment, is about their kill ratio. You've got the two main... I mean, usually you will see like 2 perks where they just clear everything. They will be clear ahead. But if you look at the kills, how spread they are across the team, they're very, very even.
I think that just goes to show that they're targeting everything equally. They know that one player could absolutely take care of it, but it doesn't matter if the entire team's shooting it at once. It's definitely dead. So it's probably a whole lot of assists. There's a lot of damage coming in. At least one of the components has been broken. I'm not sure which one that was. I think that was her helmet, right?
Yeah.
There's
down now.
so many headshots again coming in.
Wow.
I'm going to go ahead and switch over here to this other side. And she's dead. That was seconds. Once again, it's just like the abomination from one of my first streams with these people. The boss comes in, their POV is looking at them, and then you just see a sea of bullets going straight into their eyes. 19 minutes, 22 seconds, 0 deaths. Fantastically done.
That was beautiful. We knew we were going to see something special with this team, and here it is. The boss didn't even stand a chance. The medic tanked him straight up, and everybody else just DPS right off the bat.
Railguns were purchased and pulled out. I try to figure out what their actual loadout is early because they're always hot swapping so much, so it makes it difficult. But I mean, you can't argue with the results. Medicine Master Legend, 2,229 health. That's pretty high, but not the highest we've seen today. Van, Zed Slayer, Enforcer Van again, Destroyer Van again, Voodoo Doll, Giant Slayer. Van, Moneybags, Head Popper, Mr. Phalology. Once again, makes total sense that the commander will be getting the most headshots. And Voodoo Doll managed to snatch that boss kill. I didn't even have a chance to do a prediction. I just realized. My bad.
Can I just make one comment? Did anyone see how much on crack that medic was? I don't know if there's any other way I can describe it. They were literally on every drug known possible to be doing that amount of healing. They weren't even healing. They were just literally darting every single person, swapping weapon, darting more, then go back to the other weapon, carry on dying. They did not stop. They kept the stacks going with the healing.
Incredibly hyper aggressive with the stacks, absolutely. Left, right, left,
Great.
right. Maybe that's another reason they selected that room, because it makes it very easy for the medic to just turn left, shoot them all, turn right, shoot them all. There's no need to worry about people potentially blocking each other like in a corridor situation, because everyone was positioned well so that there was a clear line of sight. It was very well done. Very well done. Okay, let's go ahead.
Again,
Very amazed by it. I think there'll be small tweaks where they could have actually made it a bit easier for the team, especially with the medic, but just giving them a 501. That would have helped them out so they can focus on other things, but definitely well played on their part. I don't think there was any much more you could have done, really.
yeah, that was pretty close to perfection, and these guys are really setting up the meta ahead of everybody else. Everyone's going to kind of play catch up to what they're doing, and it's outstanding. It's very stellar.
Absolutely. I think Voodoo Doll's in my Twitch chat, and they say, Monkey saved my arse, had no ammo, 30 HP, quarter did the wind-up hit, stumbles like 3 frames before death. Someone else said, all according to plan. No problem. Wow. I mean, that was a lot. So before we potentially bring in some team captains or others into the chat, which I'll go ahead and start asking, what are your thoughts? I mean, you guys already started, but any thoughts on potentially just their layouts? I mean, you mentioned that there were potentially some locations for improvement. What did you think maybe might have been their weak spot? Because, I mean, we saw what their strengths were, no problem. So maybe we should try to figure out what could have been better.
That's hard to say. They were on point, but I'll let FluX go ahead.
No, go on. You can finish off one. I'll finish off what I was going to thinking of.
Like I said, they're on point. They're really doing very good. I would say I don't really have too much to say. I think they're kind of leading the standard right now. FluX, do you have anything to add or any kind of things like to say?
Yeah, so remember, everything I say is just like in theory. It's not opinionated. It's not well, it is opinion, but it's not saying that they don't do any bad. They're not doing anything in they should be doing this. It's none of that. It's all theory based.
This is
It's just
all
how my mind
hindsight.
goes. Yeah. So, like I said, the example with the medic, I feel like they needed to go for more of an area effect build. It would allow them to actually focus on specific targets or specific, like actual decision making, because you saw like when it was very calm, they would just spam, 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 and it does get tiring doing that after a while. So having like a 501, like my team in a recent match, that would have actually allowed them to. Well, okay, one dart does one heal. The grenade does area effects over a tick. So every tick will increase the passive because it stacks. So that's one opportunity.
Mhm.
The second one, I would actually say they need to actually focus more on the lanes a little bit more, especially in something as tight as that. They had many very iffy moments where I think they could have actually lost a player, especially as you saw right at the end where the gunslinger, I feel it was the gunslinger, he went down to 26 health, 30 health. If they
And he
kind
was
of were
stuck on
able
the
to
M9.
split. Sorry?
And he was stuck on the M9 pistol for a little bit as well. It seems like they're having some gun swapping problems.
Yeah, so with little bits and pieces, they can definitely like make it a very clean right across. Obviously, everyone's going to have their mistakes. Um,
Not everyone will
It's
be able
just
to
little
see
bits.
what we're seeing either. We
Yeah.
definitely have a fly on the wall perspective, so I mean, you have to even be conscious of what's going on before you can even adjust to these sorts of things. So
Yeah.
okay, well then if you guys are ready, I'm gonna go ahead and bring in Hazardous Monkey and Van 2K.
Just hear it.
Hello, Hazardous Monkey and Van 2K. Could I get a hi from each of you just so everyone knows who's who?
Hey,
Hey?
All right. I mean, just what to even start with? That was so fast. I didn't even have a chance to set up a prediction. The viewers very pleased by that. The skills shown once again. Just there's so much to talk about, but I think first and foremost, round of applause. Very fast time at FluX. That was under the requirement, right, for the bracket?
Yeah,
Yeah.
by far.
By quite a bit. So I mean, congratulations, I guess. First off,
Woo!
big round of applause. What was that match like for you? I mean, there's a lot for us to talk about. So in this time around, I think I'd rather just ask you what maybe you'd like to talk about. How was it for you? What was the standout moments, the best of the bests and the worst of the worsts?
I think to put it as simply as possible, it might have looked like we were like had it all together, or maybe it didn't at some points. But there was there was so much weirdness going on. Vaughn, you want to let them know like your average FPS during that game?
Yeah, so we were running quite a few practice games of this map, and we had some really clean runs going. This was one of our more chaotic attempts. I had restarted my laptop like 2 or 3 times before this match. I had given it like 10 minutes to cool down. Like, okay, this tournament, I gotta let it like run smoothly.
Mhm.
I was getting single-digit FPS that whole run. It was awful. It was choppy, and I was like, I was suffering through frame rate and like telling my teammates like, hey, I need to be babysitted. Like I can't do takedowns for shit right now. And we were getting some crazy RNG at the beginning too. I think it was wave 2 that we got. What was it? A QP and a Scrake, which is really unusual.
To get
Yeah.
both squads at the same time, wave 2 is pretty wild.
Van, could you remind us what your perk was?
I played support.
And Hazardous, you were Firebug, right?
Yeah, I was playing the Firebug. You'll
Okay.
probably see those two perks played by us the entire tourney.
So that sounds fun. How was that? I mean, if your frames were that bad, how was that when it came to swapping weapons with everyone? I mean, I did see at least one time a gun just was completely missed. I thought it was the person throwing it, but maybe you just kind of sidestepped it and didn't notice it go past you for a minute.
The entire game was a struggle. At one point, I think we got shoved by a triple QP on right, and my game like froze for a solid 3 seconds, and I couldn't contribute. And I told my teammate to rotate. And we have a strategy of exchanging weapons so that I can give overcapped ammo I actually told them, I'm like, hey, I can't do that. Like, my game is so bad, I can't like give you my weapon. And so there's a lot of just poor quality of life stuff that was affected.
And it leaks into like even more than that. So we were going into these waves with like, I think we get like almost 200 more ammo per nail gun, and we were missing that on many of them. And then it goes like, you know, Vaughn's getting 5 frames. He was saying at one point he was getting 5 frames a second. That means he's missing shots that he would otherwise hit. So we're using ammo even. Like by the end of the wave, we were really, really struggling. All of us were so low on ammo. As you saw, we missed one of the guns. So we were just missing a gun at the end.
We had an unbelievably unlucky thing, like on top of that. So our slinger, with our ammo swap strategy, he has to like drop part of his kit on the floor where people like aren't allowed to touch it because it would ruin like the ammo count. Beneath the couch within the map, and it was stuck, so he lost half his kit.
So he's right.
Yep.
Oh,
We
God.
saw that. We saw bits and bobs of that. Which gun was it? If you
I
remember?
believe it was a single deagle and a single 1911. If I'm not.
They were
mistaken.
both full, so we're missing like full sets.
Ooh.
They might have
weapons.
been his upgraded ones too.
It looked
So
like he
he's-
managed to get his deagle back though.
Okay.
Yeah, one of them was still down there, but
Yeah.
it's so catastrophic because even the 1911s are upgraded. So it's, I think I honestly don't even know, but and it's like one of those things too because we've got 6 players, but we have like groups of players that kind of are in their own little world. Like they have so many responsibilities on each player. So when we have one person's missing a gun, someone basically can't play. Like these worlds are colliding where we otherwise not let them touch at all.
Mhm.
And so yeah, it was really. I'm proud that we did as well as we did with so much going so horribly wrong.
It sounds like you had a challenge put before you. It seems like maybe this was just the world saying, you know, you're having it a little too easy on these other matches. Let's bring up the difficulty.
Yeah. Yep.
That being said, anyone who wants to kind of, tamper with the matches, play with their guns.
Yeah, that'd be probably best.
Yeah. We even had at the very end, I think it was like wave 7 at the end. We were so dry on ammo that I was like Culk killing the 2 QPs at the end. And then Voodoo, who's got like an empty 1858, is shooting him, and he's at 1 HP, and the QP winds up for a 68 damage hit, and I give him the guaranteed Culk stumble like right at the end, and we're just basically like, all laughing at like how stupid our situation was. But hey, it worked out, you know.
In general, was
go ahead.
this actually the actual tactic you were hoping to go for? Like, did it actually all go to plan as a whole? Obviously, where this room is actually quite one of the tougher ones.
We definitely wanted to hold there, and as a part of our plan, we're thinking about like, you know, which traders can we skip, which traders are the most optimal, and we came to like, we went down to the basement trader, which was not one of the ones we wanted to do, but we decided, we took a good look at our time, and we decided that like no matter what, we just needed to like safety with all the stuff that was going wrong, low performance on Vaughn there, and just all the wildness, that we just took like a safety trader to the basement when we might not otherwise. So it wasn't our like perfect run, but it was well within the scope of what we were looking to, you know, maybe do.
So going with that mention, you mentioned earlier that you actually did a couple of runs, and this was one of the more chaotic ones. How much of a time difference was it from this one to your actual training playthroughs?
It's hard to say for exactly sure because we don't have the mod to use on our own. And I didn't get a chance to ask Dragonfly to set up like a test because we were using it for the tournament. But I think it was probably like, I think it was 1 minute over
Okay.
what we'd expect. Like it's pretty like in there. That's like within the limits of like RNG and stuff.
That's still very respectable, though.
Yeah, a whole minute reduced even further. I mean, these are some of the lowest times I've seen in the tournament. Obviously, I'm not watching every single stream, so I mean, FluX, what are your thoughts on that? in terms of the overall par. It's been around 20-ish minutes from what I've seen.
For most maps, for smaller and medium maps, we seem to be seeing around about the 19 to 23 on average. For larger maps, we're seeing up to 26, 27. So yeah, this is definitely, especially with the strategy they got, very acceptable.
Awesome. ALovelyTsundere, any thoughts that you might have?
I'm ready for the questions. I do want to ask them a few questions. I think they did really good, and this is really exciting to see. Even with the chaos, maybe it wasn't fun for them, but it's definitely fun as a third-person viewer. I'm pretty sure for our audience and everybody in chat to see just the kind of drama and and everything happening on screen. So I'm ready.
I just want to make one comment actually, and Vaughn, this is a little bit of a funny thing for you.
All right.
So for everyone, Vaughn actually came to me about helping out with the streaming. So we're gonna just mention this and say that we're very lucky he didn't, because he may not be here in this match right now.
The laptop can only take so much, you know.
Yo, crack that thing open and put some fresh heatsink paste on it.
That whole incident was a pretty big letdown too, because I had been wanting to do a test stream to give FluX an example if it would like be ideal for me to like broadcast a tournament, and I had this crazy idea of like commentating a CD game, which would have been really cool, and I had it all set up and everyone was like ready to like play and everything, but I bailed on it last second because my laptop wasn't being cooperative.
And I wasn't feeling well. This is Wednesday, so maybe it was like Destiny telling us we shouldn't do it, so that we can at least get this game over with.
Well, I hope your laptop survives the entirety of the tournament, so that we can continue watching these fantastic plays.
FluX has seen my graphics.
Oh, I've seen them.
Yes.
Minecraft
graphics for sure.
Yeah.
I'm impressed.
Guys.
Let's see here. Let me think. There's a lot of things happening there. Overall, I think we kind of talked about the motions and how you mentioned some of your lows, like that near death towards the end, as well as just the scrapes and things pulling in. In terms of the medic, FluX mentioned earlier before we brought you in that potentially one of the places where improvement could have occurred is instead of having the medic with the 401 and the starter pistol just firing off buff sticks and healing rounds, they might have been able to position themselves a little bit differently towards the back end of that room so that they could actually fire on the enemies. Originally, we also mentioned, this is all just backseat gaming, essentially. This is theory, craft, and whatnot. Then you come in and you let us know that half your team is just incapacitated, essentially, almost. Would you say that had something to do with the weapon choice and the tactics that the medic made use of in this match, or was that kind of the original idea regardless?
So related to like medic's purpose and like role within the team?
Yes, essentially.
So this is a little bit of a tradition we have from CD medic. Medic is not really capable of contributing a whole lot offensively. It's actually more beneficial for him to keep teammates buffed, and that way they output more damage because of the buff, the reload speed, the damage buff. It's more beneficial for him to like just riddle someone with darts. That's like the main anchor of the lane.
Mm-hmm.
And because the 401 isn't gonna do all that much when there's 3 people already shooting in the lane.
And if you just break down like the math a little too, like if you buff someone 3 times, it's like 30% bonus damage on top of a class that already gets like 60% bonus damage. So they're almost dealing double damage, whereas the medic has no damage skills that they're using or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So you can plonk them with some 401 shots or whatever. But in one bullet, like an amped deagle shot is already doing like many times more damage in just one shot than many medic bullet shots. Maybe they can kill trash or whatever, but the thing is, we would just run, if we wanted to kill stuff, we'd probably just run a different class.
Yeah. So
the actual concept behind it, just in case there's any confusion, was actually the difference between the medic having a 401 versus the 501. The 501 would have been able to actually stack up the the buffs for all your teammates, and they can focus on other stuff while that's stacking. And it obviously would last longer and easier than the darts would. I know sometimes the darts are easier and more manageable, but with close combat areas, sometimes it's just best to say, okay, have a grenade. I can help you out for a couple of seconds.
Yeah.
I think on top of that, even more, without delving into our strategies like too much,
Of course.
Oh yeah, exactly.
we're not really giving our medic a ton of opportunities to like ammo their own weapons. So while we might buy a 501 and you have like let's say they had 10 grenades, all 10, you could very easily be like out of those by the end of the wave or going into the next wave. Whereas if we buy like a 401, you can have people amped 24/7, or almost for pretty much the entire wave and the next wave.
Well,
and if they run out of ammo, as soon as you run out of grenades, the 501 is useless for a medic unless you're doing damage.
and you weren't looking to have the medic do damage in the first place. All right, well,
It's kind of a mixed bag.
yeah, thank you very much for answering that question in such detail, because I know for the most part you guys prefer to keep it a little hidden up since it is still a tournament. I'm sure the viewers are appreciative as well. It's nice to be able to hear someone succinctly explain the rationale and what things are going, as opposed to my ramblings about it makes things shoot fast.
Yeah, I mean, for our final interview, I'm sure we'd be down to like spill the beans and everything.
Yeah,
Oh,
no,
I might have to hold you to that.
Just remember, there'll be another season.
yeah. And when it comes down to it, we have so many X factors of just like potential things like as in this last match here, terrible performance and all kinds of weirdness going on. It would be really unfortunate to like stack all that medic responsibility on a weapon that like something might go wrong and then they just can't heal anymore.
And especially if you guys are like skipping waves so often, you don't want to have like a particularly ammo limit on your healing abilities. That makes sense to me. I guess that'd be FluX feels a little bit different on it, but we'll see it.
It's all situational.
Yeah, exactly.
If we're going to the trader more often, we'd probably get one like every wave, but as you can see, we're trying to go as few times as possible.
Yeah. All right, well, since we're starting to get close to that hour mark, let's move on to the boss round. There wasn't much of a round to speak of, honestly, but what were your thoughts in there? The weapons switched very quickly. It's hard to tell what guns you guys have at any, or your team has at any point. I try to keep track of it, but they're just bouncing around. Hazard, you have such an annoying habit of not actually switching them until like you're actually throwing them, and I can't see it because it's gone like that. It's in the air for 2 seconds. So I saw at least the arrival of a railgun, and I think that's the only thing I was actually able to register before you finished killing the boss. Weapons, and I guess my question with this whole ramble is, with the amount of money you're saving by not going to the traders, are you usually just picking a big ticket item, if you're willing to explain, obviously, like a railgun, or people just pumping all their money into upgrades? That's basically the idea of this question.
A lot of that stuff is pretty public anyway. All of our money and stuff is there. I think for us, we kind of had this last minute epiphany last night and this morning about the Matriarch, where we can just do like so much damage so fast, like no matter where we are. So yeah, that's pretty much like the idea is getting these like, we have like $4,000 or something walking to trader for boss wave, which means you're selling your weapons and buying like $4,500 worth of any loadout you want. So between that and like rail upgrades or A12s or anything, pretty much for that last fight we were just trying to do as much damage as possible. And as you saw, in contrast to many other Matriarch rounds, we didn't really give her an opportunity to make use of her EDARs, or you probably saw how little we cared about our blue laser.
Yeah,
usually that like one-shots teams, we just don't care.
There's no need to care if they're dead before they can finish. I mean, it's that constant refrain I've seen in the Killing Floor 2 Discord. It's like, it doesn't matter how much you can heal if the enemy's dead already, honestly. And I think you're really showing how valid that statement is if you can accomplish it. That makes
some kind of some cool strategies with you can sequence break many of our attacks.
Mm.
by specifically timing armor breaks and stumbles, and
I see.
you know, if there was an even an Edar alive, the EMP effects from that interrupt some of our attacks. So I think we skipped a red laser and a blue laser. She didn't even get a chance to fire them because we sequence broke her armor components at the
So there
exact
was
time
a
we did.
tactical destruction of the armor. See, that I couldn't even register that. So thank you for elucidating that point. It's basically I was just watching through her POV, and it was pretty much like that Abomination fight the other day, where he walks up and then there's just 6 people putting a hellfire of bullets into my screen. And then I have to violently try to click on my controller to tab out of her so I can actually see her die before you finish killing her. I think I managed it this time too. So honestly, I think what I'm trying to say here is that was fast. So good job. And I think it was just it's impressive. Ultimately, the quality of the callouts, which we heard when I jumped in. How efficient people were saying. It was like, here's a rage flesh pound, Sharp turned around, start putting shots in. They were alerted well in advance about the Scrake, turned around, put the stun in the Scrake, timing on the Z times, extensions, everything was just perfect once again, at least from our perspective. It seemed like, besides those little hiccups that we mentioned during this whole chat, it was just all engines running at full steam. So that brings me to my last question, unless ALovelyTsundere or FluX have anything to say.
I'm sorry. I think everything's been kind of said. I mean, I'm just really glad to see him in action. My team tried their best, and I know that I'm just glad. I'm just glad to see that. I knew this was probably going to happen. Swats is such a strong team, and they're really good on so many levels, and I was very excited to see what happened, no matter what.
Love to hear it. Love to hear
It's
it.
not over yet. In the finals, expect some rematches.
Okay.
You know,
If you go through this, I want one request from your team.
what's that?
And I want to have a real good one out of this one. I want you to give us one surprise weapon from each perk. That's a bit of a tough one.
It's tough because we're literally
Yeah.
running into these limits where
Yeah.
we're up to like the weight limits on some of these weapons. So, you know, we throw in some weird weapon. Like I would do it like for the memes, you know, throw in like a beluga beat. But as you can see, we
Yeah, it's a tough one.
It's very precise, your actions, yeah.
depending on the boss, you'll see some stuff, but some of the bosses are a little more unique.
Right, everyone.
I
you
expect
heard that,
C4.
yeah? We're holding you
C4.
to that
Everyone's
now.
wearing C4. I want to see just a Christmas tree boss at the last one.
Yeah.
All right. Well, then my last question, really, and just this is to everyone. I mean, we gotta finish it up. MVP. We gotta talk about MVP. Bring up MVP and do the poll and all that. I mean, I don't know. Personally, I'm trying to play it all back in my head. Everyone was once again just doing their whole job. I mean, based off
Medic.
what you were saying, medic once again in standing.
Medic.
I mean, you need that damage buff. It helps you go through things quickly. I got nothing else on that. What do you think, FluX and Tsundere?
Sorry, medic. I don't think anyone's going to go against that. With how much they were on drugs on that moment, they clearly are definitely doing over the top.
Did
There's
you
a
see
lot
the
of
damage
steroid.
taken? Was it just say in that last match or anything?
It was
I'm
like
not thinking anymore.
2,800. I want to say.
Oh wow.
Let me check now.
FluX
It
is
was
super accurate.
pretty insane.
There's a lot more than your usual. I'll say that.
They're points to be used. They're not points to be saved. That's the
Wait, sorry,
mantra.
damage taken? Was that damage taken?
Or healed or anything.
Was that just in
really.
one wave? 2,000 in one wave?
Oh no, that was matched. That was matched.
Ah, okay.
So your
Two.
boss wave, you took a whole team total damage around about 100, if not less.
In boss
Overall.
wave.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
boss
in
wave was
boss
done.
wave. The wave before that, 129, 81, 164, 107, 47, 211. You guys are barely even touching the 800 mark, if not even lower. Yeah, most of it's lower.
Yeah.
Well,
it wasn't bad at all. Definitely got some
Yeah,
hiccups when he got
yeah.
punked, but
I got that clutch save on the sharpshooter in the end. That's all I'm saying.
it's,
The
Yeah,
30
I was
second
saying
penalty we avoided, you know, whatever.
when that whole team a little earlier in the match, maybe around the midway point, ended up being around half health or less. I was telling everyone, it's just like they don't care. I mean, half health, that means they still have at least 49 HP left to work with.
Yeah, as long as you're above 1, like, who cares?
Unless you're on
Well,
fire, then you do care.
Yeah, exactly. Unless they're fire.
I mean, it looks
Speaking
like all right. Everyone's talking medic. I gotta get this poll going, so let's go
I
ahead and
think
make
medic definitely deserves. That is like the stupidest spot I think we've shown off in the tournament so far, and we have some stupid ones to show depending on the map. that
everybody,
comes up, but
I need to say, if everybody thinks it's a medic, some people are saying support in chat, but let me tell you the true MVP. Chef Firebug!
You could tell he's a firebug man.
hell yeah.
All right, medic,
Hey,
firebug
Chef
support. I think
Firebug,
we'll-
come on. He's literally cooking. I mean, come on, guys.
Oh man, you definitely knew what to bring to the chef's table today.
Okay, right.
All
All
right,
right, is try his food and then see if you live afterwards. Then we'll see if we can vote. For it.
those who
Oh,
have weak teeth need not apply. There may be some metal remaining. All right, so I got medic, firebug support. Let's add one more in there because I'm trying to make it an option between 4. I mean, firebug was holding the lines, pushing things back, clutch save like we mentioned. Support again is important for your strategy in general. Medic just pumped everyone full of so much steroids and farts. So what will be the last one out of the list? Commando?
And sharpshooter. The freezes and the stuns are incredible.
I
The
feel like
takedowns. I had some larges because I've got my Call Can Burn, and so I'm just sitting there, and Von's peeking with his Vlad or whatever, and Voodoo's peeking with his sharp guns, and I'll have large Zeds just collapse in my doorway. They don't even make it into the hold. So I definitely think sharpshooter needs a representation.
All right, MVP poll will be medic, firebug, support, and sharpshooter. It's got 3 minutes on the poll, starting it now. Getting the results.
Chat, put it down.
I do love the comments. MVP Matriarch for putting up such a good fight. Another one. If you sacrifice yourself at the end, I would have voted sharpshooter.
We
I
have
think,
some of
I
our
think
CD
that-
games.
that-
We have our
yeah.
supports die way too often, and so we call it the support sacrifice when they die.
I'm pretty sure the medic did Sui at the end. He just suicided right after he beat the boss, and that was pretty interesting to see.
It would be hilarious if that was a penalty.
Yeah, this suicide too early in excitement.
Oh man, this has been a match and a half. I mean, I feel like I'm almost just sticking to your team more than I ought to be honest. How many matches have I viewed at this point?
I've only
like
played
3.
3, and I think you've done all of them so far.
That's what I think as well. So I mean, thank you for
And I've
having
been
giving
loving
me-
them. Appreciate you casting our games.
We actually love that.
Thank you for giving me stuff to talk about and giving all of us stuff to talk about. Because I mean, obviously here we have Tsundere and FluX today, but I'm glad you're enjoying it. I mean, this is not something I've ever really done before, except for since this tournament. So
Yeah.
much love. To anyone who has potential feedback or critique, I am always open to it as long as it's coming from a place of positivity. Not to say it has to be positive. You could say I suck but then just give me clear reasons as to why I suck, so that I can adjust on that. But
Boo! Your stream's too good. It's too good. Boo!
okay, let's go ahead and drop that down to poop stream. I'll start to remove my cell phone microphone. I'll just record the screen, and then it'll die halfway through because my battery's gone out.
I could do a
Oh, yeah.
voiceover for you if you want.
The votes are coming in. We have a little bit more time. Looks about maybe a minute left. There's 6 votes to medic, 3 to sharp, and 1 to firebug. There's still time to change things up. There's still a lot of viewers there, so go ahead and click and vote if you have the capacity to. I don't know if there's any limitations that Twitch involves, but give it a shot.
I think some people in chat saying sharpshooter, and I would definitely on reality I would definitely say sharp just because those ices. You guys really nailed those ices every time, especially the big Zeds. Like most of the big Zeds didn't even have a chance to rage or anything, and those ice grenades were on point.
Well, many streaks did get a couple of love slaps, so yeah.
They did. They really did. Especially on the
One
left
of the
side. The
bugs.
left side was their favorite side.
It's funny how that is, because during our practice, we put a practice just before this, and the right side was getting smacked, like 24/7. Like, as much as the RNG could give us hard Zeds, it was just dumping them on us. And this time it was kind of the left side.
The RNG for our practice run was actually hilarious. We had points where it was commando left, everyone else right, and I support had 18 larges at the end.
That's nutty. I mean, that shows just how variable this is. You know, there's arguments made about you know the quote unquote
Next
fairness
season,
between
you
each
know?
side and all that, but I think there's quite a bit of value coming from the variety, because no matter how much you train, you're still gonna have to be adaptable, and
Yes.
adaptability seems to be something that keeps coming up throughout this tournament. So to have just a little bit of RNG there, you know, the same bosses at the end, same matches, maps, I think it livens things up and keeps everyone on their toes. So
Right.
let's see here. The vote is done. Medic wins with 55% of the vote. Congratulations.
Nice. Deserved.
Well deserved. So we're coming on to the end. Sorry for having gone a little over. If that was an issue for any of you two, is there any final words you'd like to say as this monkey or Van2K?
You know, I just good luck to everyone coming next. Do we have like one more match tonight, or is it all done?
One more match.
Who's playing next?
Janitor's team. Janitor Jedi Association.
Good luck.
It's been a pleasure. Thanks for having us.
Thank you for being around. I'll go ahead and pop you back out. And thank you for your time once again.
Yeah.
All right, FluX and ALovelyTsundere, are there any final thoughts with us as commentators? I think that was a really good interview at the end there. We covered a lot of parts, things that we all brought up during the match.
Nothing really to add. They were good with their calls. They've done all the communication. They're showing what potential we have in an RNG game. It shows how much quicker you can do with just a slightly different plan and strategy, and how many different strategies can happen, how many things you can be punished for, and still you can just get away with it.
Absolutely. Intentionality is one thing, but you got to have either just way too many plans, or you got to have just the right amount of skill to be able to just switch on the fly without even having to describe things. I mean, making calls and all that is very good, but at the end of the day, no team captain, no team member is going to be able to basically handhold any other team member and guide them throughout the whole process if you want to get a good timing, because that's going to detract from their focus. So seeing any team, seeing all the teams really, from my perspective, I've witnessed so far, being able to trust in each other, to just switch things around as needed, and then consider, then reposition, then get that little bit of guidance that says, okay, now that we have all survived that little push, let's go back here. It's fun. It's awesome to see. I never thought I'd have this much fun doing this. I hope everyone else is having fun watching it. I hope you guys are enjoying doing this as well.
For sure.
Yeah.
Well, I guess unless there's any other points, that'll have to be it for now, and I'll ask you to go to the other channel, if that's okay.
I see he's trying to get rid of us again.
Oh man, come on. Okay.
Okay. Cheers, man.
Pattern.
Later.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, and others, there you have it. It has been a day and a half for me. I am kind of pooped out, but it has been very fun. I do see that I have a few more sub points up there. So to whoever it is that did that, thank you very much. I don't think it even updated on here. That's brilliant. But that's not a problem. I appreciate it. Whoever it is that did that, I think I know who it is. Once again, thank you to ALovelyTsundere for having followed earlier. Thank you to all of you who are watching. Thank you to all the players. Thank you to FluX. We'll go ahead and send all this information on over so that eventually things can be updated. Look forward to what I believe is the final match, soon.tm. If you want to know exactly when it happens, you should be able to find that information on the FluX server tournament Discord server. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, like always, just let me know, and I'll see what I can do about it if it's reasonable. And I think that really covers it all. Once again, I didn't play any music while we were doing that discussion, but I feel like we always scratched, honestly, with how in-depth it was. So we're going to go ahead and try to pick something to go on out with. And that. So, I know. I haven't fully vetted this quite yet. Let's see how I want. So many. I want Skywards. So yeah, that's been all by me. That's been the Cruiser, also known as Cruise Control. Thank you for sticking around. Thank you for listening to my little rambles at the end. Hopefully you have a good weekend. See you tomorrow, where I should be having 2 more streams if all goes well. I will quickly shout out what those times are, and that'll be the end of it. Yeah, schedule. And you can also see this on my schedule by just adding flash schedule to the end of my Twitch channel URL. I'll be taking care of Janitor Jedi Association on Shopping Spree with Abomination at 5 to 6 p.m. PDT, and Sad Swats Tragic Kingdom Patriarch 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. PDT. This has been Cruising Near, also Cruise Controlled. I've said that way too many times today. See you later. Have a good one. Bye.